Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
James Edwards, Sam Bushman breaking down the gerrymander. Poor Jerry. Democrat lawfare going on. Hillary's protected by the Justice Department. Now the new Justice Department ain't doing nothing about it. Can you say that? Can you just talk redneck on the radio and TV like this? Just wondering. Anyway, 3-judge panel, one Ronald Reagan, one Barack Hussein, and one Donald Trump judge, all three having a battle. They decided 2-1. You can't use the gerrymandered map of the latest Republican get-go, and we've got to go back to the Democrat map at 21, and, you know, what's all going on with that? And parties, in my opinion, are criminal, but it's been the way it is forever. And so I really hammered home last hour, or last segments on the show, the ideal, because I want people to really understand how corrupt and wrong and evil it really is. Now, James, in the real, not just the ideal that I push for and talk about, in the real, what's going to happen? It's going to the Supreme Court. The Republicans are probably going to win. They're going to have what? Save their bacon from doing nothing for the last year in Congress then? They're just going to win because they're better than the Democrats and they didn't do anything last time. But, hey, there you go. Is that what's going to happen? 26. We got it sewed up by the Republicans.
Not necessarily. I mean, you know, it'll be a coin toss as to who wins in the midterms.
What do you say is going to happen? What's the real? What's going to happen?
If I had to bet, I just don't see the Supreme Court taking on, as I said in the last hour, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and not ruling favorably. It is expected that they will eviscerate that, which is going to put a lot of seats into play that are currently not. I can't see them taking that on and not this, but, you know, I've been surprised before in politics, that's for sure. And as of right now, the Democrats have the upper hand on this until something's overturned at a higher level. Yes.
Here's my guess. My guess is the Supreme Court's not going to take it on.
If that's the case, then it remains 5 safe Democrat seats, and or rather, it just reverts back to the whole line, and these 5 new Republican seats, rather, will not exist.
Are gone. Okay, and then in California, they'll be allowed to do that because they got a more liberal district over there, and you know, if it comes up, they'll allow it. If the Republicans, you know, the Republicans don't really sue and take action like the Democrats do, so so what you'll probably have is that you'll probably have 5 seats go in favor of the Democrats and 5 seats go in favor of the Democrats, and now the Republicans have done nothing, so they're going to lose big in 26 if they're not very careful, James.
The great Sam Francis, who was the editor of the Washington Times, a good friend of Pat Buchanan. He died right around the time we were first going on the air with TPC back in the mid-2000s. But he quite rightly referred to the Republican Party as the stupid party. And he said that the Republican Party elected officials writ large are much more concerned with being beautiful losers than playing the kind of smash-mouth politics the Democrats do and doing whatever it takes to win. So as to your point,
that's right.
The Democrats will gerrymander. You know, again, I've mentioned before on this show, there are 6 New England states, those states, you know, above New York, the New England states. 40% of the votes in those New England states go to the Republican candidate. They have 0, not 1 member of the House of Representatives, and of course no senators either.
Yeah.
So they have already gerrymandered all the Republican seats out of the states that they control. They're, you know, out of California, out of California.
Shut down the whole state there, buddy. So it's not a gerrymander; it's a demimander now, right, James?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: the Democrats play smash mouth; they play to win. The Republicans are more concerned. Well, this whole thing. This Trump judge in Texas, he said, "Well, we can't appear to be racist or anything like that, even though that, you know, they've redrawn all these other lines to make sure that other races have their representation for no other reason than for racial reasons. But of course, the Republicans can't do something that would even appear to be racist, and so he would rather lose so he can be accepted in, you know, the judicial circuit cocktail party. He can get his invitations. This Trump judge who sided with the Obama judge in the Texas case, this is what Sam Francis was talking about, beautiful loser. He'd rather lose than do what they are going to do no matter what. And to your point, Sam, yes, it would be better if it just wasn't even a consideration, that we had these uniform, precincts and districts, and you couldn't play these games, but these games are being played in the real world.
Yeah, if you say I can't make a perfect square, Sam, because there's a mountain in the way, so it looks like this because the mountains are there. I mean, I understand those kind of topography realities. If you say, hey, Sam, we do it by whatever pattern we're going to use consistently in a given state. I know that each state can decide for themselves. That's fine. But I wouldn't have any problem with, you've got to break it up into smaller districts and everything. But in my opinion, you've let these private groups get control of this sucker, and it's ruined. And so I predict that the Democrats are going to have a heyday. They're going to gain a bunch of seats. In 26, we're going to lose big, because what has the Congress done? Well, they voted to see the non-existent Epstein files. It was a landslide. It was huge. Not.
Well, this is a bad thing. I don't want to necessarily bounce back and forth, but I do want to mention something about Congress to answer your question. But as far as this thing goes with the gerrymandering, in California, out of the 52 seats in California, so we already mentioned in New England, they got 0 Republicans in the House or in the Senate. They've already gerrymandered them out of existence. The Republicans are more concerned about making sure the Democrats can compete in their states. The Democrats are just wondering how we can obliterate any Republican at all. And so that's why you have this problem. But even in California, there's 52, I believe it's 52 total House seats in California. Only nine go to the Republicans even before they further gerrymander it. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to lose a lot there. Indiana had the chance to redistrict in the same way that Texas did. And they said, well, we can't be racist, or anything like that. Because anything the Republicans do that the Democrats don't like is racist. I wrote a book about that 15 years ago. But so this is why they continue to lose. And if it wasn't just for Trump's cult of personality, they would have probably been completely eliminated from the board in the last 2 election cycles. But that is also a problem.
I'd almost like to see that.
Well, you're probably about to see it.
You want to know why? Because if we see this, then Americans will start to realize what my whole point about the ideal is. That, folks, you're never going to win and do well this way. You can't do right from wrong. You can't have honor and integrity and honesty from dishonesty. Okay? You can't, right? You're right. There's 52 House seats, James, just so you know. And 43 are held by Democrats. So you're right, 9 by Republicans. That's what we've got. So they've got control of whole states, right? And they just gerrymandered to make it worse in California, right?
And again, we'll see if that's, I didn't see any judges rule that wasn't permissible. We saw the panel in Texas rule that, we can't do it.
Yeah, but that's because the Democrats sued. The Republicans don't sue. They just lay down and waste time and pretend they're important and tell you what they're going to do 100%. On the campaign trail and then lie and don't do any of it.
100%. And here you ask what Congress has done. Well, the last 4 months. All right, so again, when you're a president, especially if you're a lame duck and about to be a lame duck on top, both of your wings are going to be lame. After you go into the midterms, you have 1 year to get things done. And half of this year, has been mired ever since really the summer. We were there at that Will to Power conference in South Carolina in late May. Right. There was just so much enthusiasm, so much hope that things could, really punch through this time. At least with a lot of the folks.
It was because then we thought, give them a little bit of time, and we were deceived on that hope.
Well, and then you had the bombing of Iran in June, and that really deflated the MAGA. And then now, since then, you have had nothing but Epstein stuff. And this whole thing, Trump's attempt to purge Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey is, but the real MAGA is Lindsey Graham and Randy Fine. What in the hell is that? And this is
it's the Mitch McConnells of the group. Come on. Yeah, it's back to the Republican Party, though. Who really has control of the private organization, James?
Not me and you, but
you don't really know, do you? Who has control of the Republican and Democratic parties?
The donors. The donors.
All
right.
Who are the donors? Half of them are secret donors due to PACs and manipulated money, and it's dark money and everything else. We don't even know who the donors are, James. Really?
You would certainly say, there are the lobbyists. You could certainly, if you wanted to name, it would be people like Sheldon Adelson. That would be one that, certainly has a big hook into Trump.
It'd be Elon Musk. It'd be Mark Zuckerberg. It'd be those kind of guys for sure.
Now, but this whole cult of personality that I said, it's, this whole thing with Trump, and I do, I voted for Trump 3 times. I don't think you voted for him, any time.
Not a chance.
I do think that there is a lot of things that have happened that have been good this year. The J6 people, we could point to some things that Trump has done that no one else would have done. Certainly not anybody else that was going to be president. That has been
good.
Agree.
So my point is that's Donald, but Congress is the party has really betrayed Donald too.
Well, and Trump has made some missteps too, because this whole thing was it was a cult of personality, for better or for worse. It was not an ideological movement based on like a vision of an American future. So as a result, Congress is full of people like Lindsey Graham and Byron Donalds, in Florida, who are going to revert to being establishment Republicans when he's gone. So he's gone out of his way. Trump has to destroy the careers of people like Jeff Sessions the first time around. Now he's trying to destroy Green and Massey, who are probably two of the best in Congress. And this is his last midterm election. So these other people are going to still be there when he's gone, because again, this whole thing, and even with the good he's done, it's all been built around his ego and cult of personality, and not strict America first ideological points.
Yeah, Anna, I'm sorry. Anna Paulina Luna. I don't know why I have a hard time saying her name, from Florida, basically. She says Bill and Hillary won't testify, James.
Let's talk about it.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
Abby Johnson was once director of a Planned Parenthood clinic in Bryan, Texas. After a moral crisis, she quit, and now she campaigns against what she once endorsed.
They implement abortion quotas in all of their clinics.
What do you mean, quotas?
You have to perform a certain number of abortions every month. One of the reasons that I left...
Are they explicit about that?
Yes. It's in your budget, right there on the line item. One of the reasons I left Planned Parenthood was because in a budget meeting I was told to double that abortion quota. And for me, as someone who had spoken to the media and had said, we're about reducing the number of abortions, we're about, prevention, all of these other services, I was shocked to hear
since
this.
You actually worked at a Planned Parenthood, give us some sense of the relative number of abortions.
Okay, abortions, Planned Parenthood provides over 330,000 abortions a year. They are the largest single abortion provider in our country.
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Late breaking in appeals court just shields CNN, throws out Trump's defamation case as opinion speech. James?
Boy, don't get me started. Oh, man, don't even do this, please.
I'm just saying, what's happening with that? Think about that in light of all that we're talking about. Anna Paulina Luna stated that Bill and Hillary Clinton are simply refusing to testify before the U.S. Congress regarding their connection to the Jeffrey Epstein deal. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have a friend. Isn't his name Steve Bannon or something like that? Anyway, he wouldn't testify, and they tossed that sucker in the clink. So when are they tossing Bill and Hill in the clink, James?
Yeah, I just, boy, if you're going to hold your breath on that one, folks, you're going to be starving for
the Republicans aren't
soon.
serious, James. They're just not serious at all.
Well,
so they let Steve Bannon get thrown in jail, right? And then now we've got Bill and Hillary doing the exact same thing Steve Bannon did. I'm not going to testify. I won't do it. Okay, fine, you're going to jail. But the Republicans aren't going to put Bill and Hillary in jail for even that. And you know what? You wouldn't even know this was true unless Paulina Luna decided to tell you about it, right, James? You wouldn't even know that, would you?
No, I wouldn't have unless I got, I get my daily bread here on Liberty Roundtable, as all good Americans do, and so I learned it here. I learn things even as a guest on this show every time I'm on with you, Sam. I did not know that yet, but this thing, no, I mean, they're not going to, again, because, well, we talked about it in the last segment, but anybody who's followed politics for the last several decades knows what we said before, that what the Sam Francis has said. They're the stupid party. They want to be beautiful losers. They are more concerned with losing and being accepted by the left than
and
winning.
you can see that
playing.
too when they were so against Donald Trump. They were just like, I'd rather let the Democrat win than have Trump win. And now they're all supposedly on board with the Donald and everything else, and supposedly he's made the Republican Party, but I don't think so for a second. Who controls that baby? And it ain't Donald, I'll tell you that right now.
But anyway,
let's ask this, though. There's so many stories here to talk about in the news, James, and I don't know how they all overlap, except they're all being pushed at the same time. And so my belief is that it's just a big magic show. Let's get you focused on 96 things so the things we want to do that we don't want you to focus on can be done in the background, okay? Here's the latest.
Mirrors and sleight of hand, yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, here's the latest. Charlie Kirk's security leader makes stunning revelation about, the cops before the assassination. So here's kind of the story. They got a hold of the cops locally at the college and said, hey, we see this map of the place. There's some stairs here. There's people that can get on the roof. We're concerned about it. What do we need to do here? And now Charlie Kirk's security lead detail guy is saying, hey, man, what do I do when a law enforcement person tells me they've got it, that it's okay, that it's going to be good? I stand down and I do it. The person in charge of the security detail for, quote, Turning Point USA says that he warned Utah Valley University about access to the rooftop, and they ignored him. Brian Harpole, I think is how you say his name, Harpole, Harpole. Brian Harpole of what's called Integrity Security Solutions basically read texts on a talk show explaining that, hey, we really tried to do this, right? I guess it was Shawn Ryan's show. Anyway, basically they say we talked to the police about this and everything else. They said they had it. We let it go. And now, he said, we've called the chief of police about this after the fact. They've never called us back. What gives of this, James? The plot continues to thicken in the Charlie Kirk assassination.
It is plausible to believe the story at face value if you consider that, yes, Charlie Kirk had personal security, but it wasn't Secret Service level type stuff. So, if somebody was
the
committed
Secret Service is incredible, folks. Just so
I believe me, I'm going to get to that. But let me flesh this out. To your point, so it's plausible that if somebody was committed to killing Charlie Kirk, I mean, they could get off a shot. Interestingly, the shot that was taken at Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, was taken from a closer distance with a more direct line of sight, and that's with Secret Service protection. We talked to former Secret Service.
And you don't have any answers on
Burns.
that one either, do you, James? There,
it is interesting in both cases. Now, my wife is big time into looking at this from an alternative lens. Can I frame it that way?
You're saying your wife
people
is
would
a
say
conspiracy.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
she's watching Candace, and all these other things. And there's definitely a lot that, a lot of unanswered questions and some things that don't add up. Now, could a guy who, for whatever reason, had a problem with Kirk take a shot at him? Yeah. I mean, certainly that could happen. But there is a lot about this thing. And one thing I don't understand is, in the situation with this thing and with Trump in Pennsylvania last year, I mean, a guy almost assassinates the president. That's one of the biggest stories in American political history. Okay, really. And this guy is, of course, immediately killed, and then he's cremated, like a week later, and nobody ever talks about it again. It's just the strange. How did he get up there? No, so many unanswered questions. And then
but look,
the
you're not going to
situation
get any answers. We're too busy talking about gerrymandering. We're too busy talking about Hillary from 10 years ago that nothing's going to happen to. We're busy talking about some clown president from Saudi Arabia that shouldn't be on our favorite trading partner or whatever list. And, we're too busy talking about war in Russia and the Ukraine and talking about, hey, we got a ceasefire going on, even though people are still firing. It's a ceasefire, don't you know? And I mean, we're just absolutely derailed by every topic on the planet.
I got one for you, though, Sam, is this thing is, you can remember, back in the 80s. I mean, people, media, so-called journalists would routinely go in to prisons and interview high-profile killers, whether it's Ted Bundy or whoever.
Anymore, but you can't hear their side. They might tell you the truth.
I mean, even if it's somebody like Dylan Roof, who by all accounts, did go in there with a racial motivation to kill black people, and
we don't even know if he did.
We don't know, but I'm just saying what is interesting is that he was the catalyst. They used him. They used that situation as the propellant for the whole Black Lives Matter, couple of years run of total anarchy and terror and arson on the streets. I mean, Roof was the catalyst in that in many ways. And no one, not one person, has interviewed him. And then this situation in Utah with the Charlie Kirk assassination. This is such a huge story. I mean, that big funeral with the pyrotechnics and everything. I mean, the Charlie Kirk assassination is certainly one of the top 5 biggest stories.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the one that Donald said he hated all of his enemies. Is that one?
Yeah, that one. But why it does not make any sense to me whatsoever. And I want to give you an incredible example here, Sam. So listen to me, folks. Why not one member of the media would go in and interview this alleged shooter? And
how am I going to do that, James? I would like to. I'm in the state of Utah, too. Where's he at? You know where he is?
No. But listen to this. I'll give you an example. Listen to this. So do you remember the situation at the Waukesha Christmas parade a few years ago where you had a black guy in a car and he just barrels through a crowd of overwhelmingly white families that are there for the town's Christmas parade? You remember that one, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that was just that was a handful of years ago, not very long, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And
long enough for the American people to not remember, but yes.
But here's just a point. The point I'm trying to make. There was a group of people that they no longer exist, but they were like an alternative media group, and they contacted the prison, and they contacted this prisoner, the guy who was driving the car, and they said, hey, we're with this outfit, and it was alternative media all the way, and they got an interview with him in the prison, and they said, why did you do this? And he said, I did it because those people were white, and I wanted to kill white people. But I'm just saying, they went in, and this is another example where you had this killer, and he's in prison, and they can do interviews, media can go in and get these answers, and so an alternative group of people who just weren't part of the so-called credentialed official press, they went in there and got this incredible interview on video and posted it to their platform. And I thought, that's fascinating. That's real journalism. Why can't somebody, of course they can, why haven't they gone in and talked to this guy and gotten some straight answers about all these questions that don't add up about Charlie Kirk's assassination?
Hold on. So what's this guy's name now, the supposed assassin?
Hell, I can't even remember. That's how little it's been covered. I mean, I'd have to look it back up. I mean, I know the story.
Now, this guy, though, think about this. This guy is in Utah awaiting his arraignment or whatever else. Now, do you think if I called him up, I'd be like, hey, I want to come down, talk to him, have a good chat? Do you guys have Wi-Fi so I can stream it live? And, they're not going to be doing that, James. There's no way on earth for me to get in there and do any of that. But I'm willing, and I'm in Utah, and so is he. And I have recorder will travel, James.
Well,
recorder in one pocket, Constitution in the other pocket. I'm ready to go.
I swear to God, I can't even find his name. Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, it's Tyler Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. I know his name. I'm just teasing you. I'm just making a point. It doesn't even matter what his name is, James, because we don't even know if he's the guy that did it. In fact, everything stacks up to, as far as I can see, that we don't even know what happened.
I'm going to try to find this out while we're on the air. Maybe in the next commercial break. You can't even trust any of these clowns anywhere. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Tyler Robinson declined a media request. If you actually found the prison and tried to get in touch with him, I bet he would talk to you. I bet he would.
Oh, I think he would if they would let me. I think Tyler would, but I don't think they'll let me talk to him.
They let the other folks interview this guy that ran down everybody in Wisconsin. I don't know.
Who's got the staff to follow up on this for me, or who's got some cash to help us dedicate the time?
No, there's that.
Just saying. Don't worry, though. We're going to abolish the education department, baby. Okay? I'll tell you about that coming up. We're talking Liberty Roundtable Live in seconds. Sam Bushman, James Edwards, hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use right here on Liberty Roundtable Live, syndicated by Loving Liberty Networks.
Your daily Liberty News Wire. You're listening to Liberty News Radio.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. First the House, then the Senate passed the bill directing the Department of Justice to release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files. President Trump says he will sign the bill, although he calls the Epstein matter a Democrat hoax, says it's meant to distract from numerous Republican accomplishments since he took the White House for a second time. The president formally designating Saudi Arabia a major non-NATO ally.
The president made the announcement at a White House dinner for the kingdom's crown prince, a move that aims to elevate the military relationship between the two countries. While the designation is largely symbolic, it does provide foreign partners with certain benefits in the areas of defense, trade, and security cooperation.
Correspondent Ken Lorman. Looks like the Crescent City is up next.
Sources tell AP 250 federal border agents are set to descend on New Orleans in the coming weeks for a 2-month immigration crackdown. Dubbed Swamp Sweep, the operation aims to arrest some 5,000 people across southeast Louisiana and Mississippi.
Correspondent Ben Thomas. Setback for Republicans in a redistricting case out of Texas.
A panel of 3 federal judges has blocked Texas from using a new congressional map that Republicans drew in hopes of picking up 5 U.S. House seats. In a 2-1 ruling Tuesday, the judges in El Paso sided with opponents who claimed Texas' redrawing of congressional districts would harm black and Hispanic residents. Texas filed an immediate appeal with the Supreme Court Tuesday evening. Jason Walker reporting.
Stocks are higher on Wall Street this hour. The Dow is up 29 points. The Nasdaq trading 291 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
As a parent, is receiving a faith-based, character-focused education for your children difficult to find? Do you believe that godly principles should be a central component in your child's education? Imagine a school where faith and integrity are at its center, where heritage and responsibility instill character. For over 40 years, American Heritage School has been educating both hearts and minds, bringing out academic excellence. This is the school where character and embracing the providence of a living God are fundamental, where students' national test scores average near the 90th percentile. With American Heritage School's Advanced Distance Education Program, distance is no longer an issue. With an accredited LDS-oriented curriculum from kindergarten through 12th grade, your children can attend from anywhere in the world. American Heritage School will prepare your child for more than a job. It will prepare them for life. To learn more, visit American-Heritage.org. That's American-Heritage.org.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
Bypass the mainstream narrative with Liberty News Radio at libertynewsradio.com. Engage with charismatic hosts live or on demand. We cover the crucial news focused on God, family, and country. News that other networks simply refuse to use. Think of LNR's hard-hitting news and podcast at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join us at libertynewsradio.com. Empower your day with the truth, because the truth will set you free. libertynewsradio.com.
All right, back with you live, James Edwards, Sam Bushman. I've decided that I want to just like say Trump one-liners just for fun. Just like the random things he says that never come to fruition that are just kind of, hey, we're going to go ahead and take over Greenland, you know? Hey, Canada's going to be part of the United States, you know? When are you guys going to be the 51st state over there, you know? Hey, by the way, I'm gonna start attacking drug cartels in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Just go on to Mexican territory and just attack them. Don't worry about it. Hey. Fake news there. Everything's fake news. Everything everybody else says but what I say is fake news. We'll build the wall there. Did we build the wall the second go around? We haven't talked about the wall too much, have we? What happens with that? America first. Oh, I'm hanging out with the Saudi leader. Not going to ask him about 9/11 or anything like that. Even though Ron Paul fingered the Saudis early on, we're not going to talk about that. In fact, to do so is a clown show. How dare you? I had to kick you out of the media for asking that question. Who do you think you are? Promises made, promises kept, baby. We're taking care of business over here. Oh, we're going to win so much. Are you tired of winning, James? Just say, are you tired of winning, buddy?
No, I'm not. I haven't won enough to be tired of it.
You're fired, man.
You're definitely fired. Sam, you've definitely.
They're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way, James. You understand that, right? It's a witch hunt. They're going after you, buddy. Hey, man, we got the best economy in the whole wide world. Never mind when we're on the constitutional currency standard. Don't need that. By the way, that guy over there at the Federal Reserve, he's a clown. Got a big nose. Get rid of him. We're going to bring jobs back, James. No collusion, no obstruction. We got this going on. We're going to drain the swamp. Silent majority's back. I'm telling you, I only hire the best people, fire the worst people, don't you know? We're going to protect our borders, James. We love our cops. We love the military. We're take care of business. We're going to get rid of the corrupt establishment, James. Lock them up. I ran. I won. Big league. Big time. Hey, they said it couldn't be done. Of course, we got it done. We did it, James. Hey, man, if I weren't elected, you'd be at war right now. Never mind, we're going to cease fire with people firing. Hey, would you stop getting involved in China? I mean, wait a minute. We love China. China's great. We need rare earth minerals. I'm going to shut down criminals. We'll never surrender our country to the left or to the Chinese. Our country will be great again, greater than ever before. We'll never, ever back down, James. You know that, right? Should I create more one headline?
Sam, you're
James,
definitely...
That's what you're experiencing, buddy.
I will say this to you, my friend. You are definitely on point with the message, but you're not sticking you don't have his voice down quite as you're not sticking the landing on that as well as you do the Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton,
no voice, and no hair, James. That's the problem.
Well, hey, not many people have that hair. I got something, Sam. I got to say, I got something for you though. I got something for you. This is fascinating.
Is it secret news on Charlie Kirk?
Sort of. Okay. I mean,
then I'll listen.
I found this out in the last during the long break. So we were, Tyler Robinson. Listen to this. He is being held. He's being held at the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork. Sam, I can give you a tank of gas, and you can get over there and get to the bottom of all this. It wouldn't even take your tank. I mean, he's in your town. He's right there.
I know, but they won't let me see him, James. You don't understand. That isn't happening.
Well, here
is Sam Bushman to see Tyler Robinson. What relation are you, sir?
Well, okay, so again, wait a minute,
I'm not related. Then the media gets out. Sam Bushman's trying to hang out with Tyler Robinson. You know.
Well, again, it is media. historically has been able to interview people, but and as I said, well, hey, you say that, Sam. I just told you in the last segment that members of this alternative media collective interviewed the guy who ran over everybody in Waukesha before he was sentenced, and they were allowed to have access, and they did exactly what we're talking about. But listen to this: there is a but to that. So it's not unprecedented. In very recent history, somebody has done that from alternative media, and you're actually much more mainstream.
How about I'll do this? How about if we make it what if we make it a fundraiser? We want to fly James Edwards from the great state of Tennessee on up to Utah so we can roll down to Spanish Fork and interview Tyler Robinson.
Now, why would I fly? Why would I fly to Spanish Fork when you live there? You're right there. We're fiscal conservatives. All you got to do is
you believe you can get in. I don't believe we can get in if we try.
Well, okay, I got an answer to that.
But if you're so convinced, I'll pay the money to fly you in so you can get it done. I don't believe you'll get it done.
Hang on, that's a waste. That's a waste of our listeners' funds when you're right there. It just doesn't make sense. You're right there. You just get in the car. You're there. You could be there, in an hour with traffic. But there is a but. Here's the but, Sam. I'm being a little facetious. Although I do believe that I would certainly like to have members of the media interview this guy. Why are they not interviewing this guy? Well, there's an answer to that. Members of the media, I found all this out in the 5-minute break. All right. Members of the media cannot currently interview Tyler Robinson in person or on camera. Now listen to this. This is what's going on. They are denying news media face-to-face or on-camera interviews with Tyler Robinson because of what they say, security, safety, and operational reasons. But listen to this.
Who are they, by the way? Ultimately, the Republicans and the Democrats, James.
Okay. Well, and then perhaps putting pressure on the law enforcement who makes that decision. But you
can't interview this guy, James.
Well, I'm going to tell folks exactly. He's being held in isolation, 23 hours a day.
Jail.
20 right there in your neighborhood. 23 hours a day he is in cell with constant supervision. Even his court appearances have been virtual.
They don't even do that for Jeffrey Epstein, James.
but listen, I mean, so you could say, okay, well, he's a security risk. He's this, that, and the other. I mean, he's about as well built as a twig. But nevertheless,
why is he a security risk?
He can't get on the phone? Is that a security risk? What about sending him a letter? Listen to this. What about sending him a letter?
No, you can't do that, buddy.
And it even says right here that there was an answer about that. Anyway, they are even. So that
now
would
the only way for me to interview Tyler Robinson would be maybe if he was allowed to make a phone call like other prisoners are, and then he could call me and I could put it on the air like I've done to Ken Cromar from prison. That might work, but other than that, I don't see any way to interview. Well,
listen,
guy, James. Zero.
You remember the Charlottesville trial, the case in Charlottesville. I had a guy who was in prison who called me, from prison on the phone and did an interview while he was waiting to go to trial. And then we just had I said in the last segment. We've had members of alternative media go and interview this murderer. He was a mass murderer. He killed many people in that Waukesha thing while he was being held before he was sentenced. Yeah. Same situation as Tyler Robinson now in so many ways. They were able to go in there and get him on. It was before. Yes, it was before COVID.
See, it's all changed after COVID, buddy. They lock you down. You can't do nothing. You don't even get in-person hearings hardly anymore.
I didn't even. Well, that's right. I didn't know COVID was still going on, but they'll keep that forever. But they got it on video.
Right.
But anyway, they're saying in this case though they're not even allowing written.
But I'm ready to fly James up here with a camera, and he can go to the Spanish Fork, and he can go ahead and try and get in there and talk to him and see what they say, and we can put it all up live, James.
All right. Hey,
it'd be worth my couple $100 flight. I'll even take you out to barbecue, buddy.
The next time there's somebody in Memphis that we want to interview, I'm going to say, well, instead of me getting in my car and driving 15 minutes, I'm going to fly you out here.
I'm not the one thinking I can get in. I'm telling you can't get in.
I'm just saying. I mean, we're having a little bit of fun here. I'm just saying people should be allowed to interview this guy.
You check this out is you thought there might be a way in, and what you found out from your study is that I'm right, and I was telling you the truth all along. They're not letting you in, buddy, and you can't get in, and you won't interview him, period, end of paragraph. Because you want to know why? He might actually give a little tidbit that might blow this whole thing wide open, buddy. You can't let that happen.
Well, that's it.
Have a clean prosecution to shut this guy down and all that if we do that. What we'll probably do is put him on 40-year appeals, and then we'll claim the cops were corrupt back in the day, and he'll probably walk free after 30 or 40 years,
Well, who knows? I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
I don't have any
can tell you that.
confidence anymore, James. I've lost my confidence in all these clowns.
I'm reading it right here from their website. It says inmates can sometimes correspond in writing with media, subject to inspection, but even that is not allowed in Robinson's case.
Right.
But why?
Because I just told you. What
say
if
it is permissible.
What if he releases a nugget that blows this thing wide open?
And
Dude,
I know people who have interviewed people while during an ongoing investigation and trial with a mass murderer, and they were able to interview. People used to could do this. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, that's
all I can tell you is we got to fix the education department, James. We got to move on to important things, buddy. Don't worry about assassination of an American and cover-ups and all that kind of stuff. Hey, we got to. So now the Trump administration announced a plan to dismantle the education department, but then it says transferring its functions to other agencies. So, James, let me just ask you a question. If I tell you that I want to get rid of something, but then I pawn off all of its duties to some other groups, and then I say it's gone because it's an empty shell now, did I really get rid of it? Key educational oversight responsibilities formerly by the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education will now be overseen by the Labor Department. So do you want the, the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education and the Office of Post-Secondary Education, do you want them doing it or do you want the Labor Department doing it, James? That's all we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it more after the break. Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's wife of the WWE founder's wife, heading the education department. I don't have a problem with that. It's funny. I mean, it's definitely
fake wrestling. The fake education department release, ladies and gentlemen. We'll tell you about it in seconds on Liberty Roundtable Live. It's all fake, baby.
Scott Bradley here. Most Americans are painfully aware that the nation is on the wrong track and in dire straits. Unfortunately, most political pundits only nibble around the edges when they claim to address the issues. Even worse, many of the so-called solutions are simply rewarmed servings of what got us into the mess we currently face. And the politicians think we're so gullible and naive that we'll buy their lies that they have reformed and now understand where they led us astray. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that they simply wish to continue to hold power. The solution to America's challenges is found in returning to the timeless principles found in the United States Constitution. My book and lecture series will reawaken in Americans an understanding and love of the principles which made this nation the freest, most prosperous, happiest, and most respected nation on earth. Visit topreservethenation.com and order my book and lectures to begin the restoration of this great nation.
Introducing Managed IT Services from NPI. We offer top-notch data backup and recovery, email spam protection, and network security tailored to your needs and budget. With 20-plus years of experience in the medical field, our HIPAA-certified consultants know what it takes to protect sensitive information. Don't settle for less. Give us a call at 801-706-6980 and experience the difference with Managed IT Services. Remember, your IT support should be fast, efficient, and reliable.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
I've decided we're going to rename Liberty Roundtable Live to the Clown Show, and we'll just demonstrate all the clownish things government is doing every single day. Trump administration wants a plan, put together a plan and executive order to abolish or to shut down the education system, but all they've done is passed all the different responsibilities to other government agencies, pretending they're shutting it down, James.
Right. So, what is more stage managed, the federal government or WWE? And I kind of like in a way that somebody like Linda McMahon would be the head of the Department of Education. She served a role in the first administration.
Isn't that ironic?
As well.
They love to shove that in your face that it's all fake, don't they?
But Trump said, she's going to have a tough job, got an interesting job, because if she does her job well, her job is to put herself out of a job, meaning that he assigned her with the task of dismantling the Federal Department of Education, which is a wonderful thing. I wish that that's exactly what was happening. It looks like if they're doing anything at all, it's just going to be restructured and moved to under a different umbrella. But
yeah, but that's not dismantling or shutting down anything, James. That's just playing games. Let me give you a quick example. They say let's see. They call them child grant programs for college students, okay? Not to mention the accreditation of the foreign medical schools will shift to the health department, James, Health and Human Services, right? And then international education grants, they'll go to the State Department, you see. The Interior Department will take over the Indian Education Office. See, we still need an Indian Education Office, don't you know? And President Trump aims to ultimately close the Education Department, but that'll require congressional approval. Congress ain't going to do any of that. Anyway, bottom line is I see this thing as a complete lie and a failure, and I told you they'd do this from the start. Do you want the government schools in charge of your vaccination programs, or do you want the Health and Human Services Department in charge of your kids' vaccination, James? Because the school system will only have jurisdiction on the schools. The health department will have jurisdictions over you, whether you have your kids in school or not, buddy. See, this is getting worse, not better, James. And I'm telling you right now, I'm putting up the sign telling everyone so.
Well, it's hard to win when you don't want to win, and what I mean by that is, the Republicans, as we have talked this show today, are so much more concerned with losing well than getting anything done. Again, you had this judge in Texas. It was a Trump appointee. The Trump appointee was the one who said, "Nah, we better let the Democrats, have these districts. That's probably the good thing." And so, if you can't even have Republicans who want to win elections, how are you going to have them make systemic changes to the federal government when it comes to something that's going to be as controversial and contentious as dismantling the Department of Education, which should certainly be abolished and didn't always exist, of course, and we got along just fine without it. Just like we got along just fine without income taxes and things like that. But, yeah, I just don't see anything.
Hey, I'm going to meet with Mondami, okay? I'm going to sit down, meet with him. Yeah, I got to sit down with the New York City mayor there. Mondami is basically interested in a meeting with me. So, I'm going to sit down and talk with him. I know we had a little bit of a kind of a fight when it was election time, Mondami called him. He said he was my worst nightmare, and I just said he was a nut job, and there you go. But now we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk because New York depends on it. And why is Trump going to go meet with this mayor in the first place? Now, I don't have any problem with the president of the United States sitting down talking to people, James. But I can't see my president. But this guy can at a drop of a hat, even though he's, wow. I guess because he's the mayor, because he's, where did the money come from for that campaign? Was there vote fraud in that campaign? Now you got a communist leader of New York City, and I'm kind of wondering, Donald's just going to sit down with him, and, hey, they're going to chew the fat and hang out and have a good time. Pretty soon Donald will come back. It was like a great meeting. It's fantastic. He's now MAGA.
He very well, I don't know if he's going to say that. He may very well say
now
it was
MAGA,
a good meeting.
James. I convinced him. I worked the art of the deal, buddy, and I converted him. He's joining the Republicans now.
Well, certainly, I believe they'll meet, and Trump may say it was a productive meeting. I don't know if he's going to christen him as MAGA necessarily. But, if you were the mayor of the most populated city in the world, you'd probably get a hearing. And, of course, New York runs it's the financial capital of the world. It's Wall Street. So, I can see him meeting with him. But, as far as the whole, they were mortal enemies from the onset, who knows?
I'm not saying you can't eventually meet with the guy, but, man, it's almost like they're so delighted to meet, they're announcing it before he's even sworn in. It's crazy. Why are we even talking about that before it's sworn in? Don't worry, those James scientists, now they've brewed their own milk without cows, buddy. Did you know that? You can get cow's milk coming up soon in Israel that's not really cow's milk. The product is lactose-free, cholesterol-free, hormone-free, chemically almost identical to milk, buddy. So it's going to be phenomenal. You ready for it? They've even got vanilla, buddy.
You're making me sick to even hear you describe it.
Yeah, man, you can have Beyond Meat. You can have your fake milk.
Well, it's just like these fast food places have, hamburgers with no meat. It's like plants, and they're supposed to taste like meat. I mean, that's disgusting. You're going to eat bugs, and you're going to love it, Sam.
Yes. What do you expect? Hey, James, which hurts people more, the hot or the cold? We got to talk about important topics here. Which hurts people more, the hot or the cold, James?
Well, I've got
kills
a big,
more people than anything else?
I would say cold kills people more, but I would certainly rather be cold than hot because I don't like to sweat. I don't like to stink. I don't like bugs. You can put on enough to stay warm. You cannot take off enough to get cool when it's hot and humid. And living down here in the South, I just don't like it. So I would say the cold is more dangerous. You're going to have more people freeze to death than die of heat stroke. But I would rather it be cold outside than warm.
Yeah, you're right on that. So they just released a study that's now in the Annals of Internal Medicine, and it revealed that over the past 25 years, James, 65% of temperature-related deaths in the United States were due to cold, not heat. Only 35% were from heat. Now, here's the interesting thing. They've been telling you in science journals that the heat is worse than the cold. Now they're reversing that is this big, interesting study. The research, they say, which analyzed real people, realized that 65,000 plus people had their death certificate say that exposure, whether hot or cold, was a compensating or primary factor. The findings suggest, they say, a need for targeted protections for vulnerable groups. Yeah, it's all about climate change, and they're going on and on and on about this. But the interesting thing I find is I didn't know that the cold killed way more people than the hot. I'd prefer to have a cooler temperature as well. But if global warming's true, then all I got to do is move in a cold place, and pretty soon it'll be a warm place, James. It won't be a hot place. So I'm in good shape.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny. Now, I would have certainly expected that the cold would have killed. That's why Europe had such a small population compared to, Africa back, hundreds of years ago. It was just very difficult to carve out a living in Northern Europe and stay alive because of the cold. That's why, people just don't, if Africa would be depopulated if heat, the people on the equator in South America and in the desert regions, there would be no people there if the heat was killing people like that. Cold, much more deadly, but certainly much more favorable if you're not in it. Because
anyway, I find that interesting to say the least. And then here's the last question before the end of the hour. A new NBC poll came out, and it reveals that 63% of America believes that, quote, violent political rhetoric contributed to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. 73% of Republicans, 54% of Democrats, 53% of independents hold this view. And then they say 28% attribute the act to a lone, disturbed individual, and 4% say it's a combination of both. This marks the first time in 15 years, James, that they show bipartisan agreement that, hey, violent discussions by politicians relates to violent rhetoric. This is a slippery slope, James. Be careful. What do you say?
Yeah, if all of this is as it seems, and I'm not saying that it's not, I'm just saying there's some unanswered questions. Nobody can talk to this guy. Nobody knows what's going on. But if he did, and it is plausible that he did, he was radicalized and he was homosexual or whatever. I mean, if all that's true, it's plausible that it was this rhetoric that led Tyler Robinson to shoot Charlie Kirk. That's entirely believable, and it could be just.
I don't think it is at all.
But I do. There's certainly. The left is certainly motivated to violence, and triggered very easily by their
But here's my take. Whether we want to admit as a nation, because they manipulate the poll questions to say everybody believes that it contributed to it, pretty soon they'll back into this idea like they did Alex Jones. Oh, Alex Jones caused that. These people caused this, so-and-so caused that, blurring the line between speech and action. You can have all kinds of speech, but it doesn't mean that you would be willing to take action, and you can't blame the actions of those, the choices or agency of those, on those who have free speech that are similarly minded, because it's a matter of degrees in many cases. Your thoughts and your beliefs and your free speech are not regulated, or at least they shouldn't be, whereas actions are indeed regulated. So I reject the whole notion of the question, and I would ask the question differently. Do you guys believe that the deep state and its actions, not only the United States but around the world, had an effect on Charlie Kirk's life?
Okay, that's a good one.
Because now you're getting to the real questions of, hey, Did they do this to Charlie Kirk because they just couldn't take his free speech anymore, James? Is it that simple? And it doesn't matter who did it. The fact is he's dead because they didn't like his free speech. Is that where we are?
Hey, look, I mean, people kill each other for any reason or no reason. Just here in Memphis, at the only mall that we have left, just yesterday, a guy shot somebody, murdered him in the middle of the mall because he disrespected him or something. So, I mean, you don't have to have too much reason for people to kill you. Although Alex Jones, I will say,
I've never
seen
any funny, man. What are you doing?
Stuff like, I mean, it could be any. Alex Jones' $1 billion judgment against him still lives in the lap of luxury. I need to know how you could do that. But
I know he got mad because he got restricted from like $60,000 a month to $30,000 a month and said he couldn't even live on it. That's what he was telling the judge. Man, how would that be, James? I could run a whole operation for a year on almost that. All right, thanks for being alongside for the ride, ladies and gentlemen. James Edwards, Sam Bushman. I know we didn't get to the bottom of a lot of the topics today, and I know it seemed like it was a little bit of an argue fest. We really want people to understand these issues are complicated, and the problem in America is nobody agrees anymore. No one can even have comments that we can't even agree that the sky's blue, can we? Well, unless you're a Democrat, then it is. God save our republic.